Hi, it's Jez here from Nigezza.co.uk. Thank you for joining me today. So I'm here with the project I made for the 3D paper trimmer blog hop that I was on, and I'm making a Teepee card. So this is my prototype. Now I've done a Teepee before, but I've resized it. Now actually, if I grab the other one that's just here, you can see I've made it ever so slightly smaller, and it's only marginally smaller. It's not massively smaller if you look at the triangles in that way. And the reason why I resized it is so that you can get two out of a standard sheet of A4. I did this in a class with some sort of I wouldn't say beginners, but some people that are building up their stash of stamping up cardstock, and I wanted to sort of show them how they could sort of stretch their stash a bit. So so I said, oh well, I'll resize it. They really like this design. We're making loads, so I said I'll resize it so you can get two out of A4, and they were really appreciative of that. So that's what we're doing. So I made this one. This is some retired foil DSP that I coloured in Night of Navy. But for this one, I'm using the fabulous returning favourite that is Brightly Gleaming. Now you can see I ain't got much left. So this was the pack I had last year, and I will no doubt be buying another pack because this is all I got left. And I was going to actually get through it all last year, and then we as demonstrators we get to hear things sooner, and heard that this was coming back, so it was like, oh, I'm going to save this, and because there might be some other paper that I love, and I probably might have enough in this to do some projects with. So this is the paper. So if you saw it last year, you'll know how gorgeous it is. If you missed out on it last year, then now's your opportunity to get it. So yeah, lovely, lovely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so that is the size, and it's copper foiled. And then on the other side, it's just as lovely. Really, really, I love that. But you're kind of torn, aren't you? I really love those colours. Pretty peacock, and I want to say old olive. And Night of Navy. Beautiful, beautiful. Just love them. Not necessarily Christmas either. Obviously some are. I mean, that can only be Christmas, really, can't it? And that's got holly berries. But the others could be for other things quite easily. So, and I love the projects I made with this last year. So yes, making some more this year. Gather up all these bits, not thrown any of them away, because the paper's just too lovely to not keep all the scraps. So shoving that back in there, and we are using this one. So I've cut all the bits up, so let me go through and tell you what you need. All the measurements will be over on Nigezza.co.uk, so don't worry about that. So for the base, we need 3 squares, and they measure 3 7/8 by 3 7/8. Then you need, I'm using the copper foiling for this, so we need 2 that measure 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. So they're your big mats. And then in the little size mats, you need, go for a neutral colour. I'm using Whisper White because I think Whisper White and Night of Navy goes really well, although with the copper might look better with cream. Oh yes, I might change it. Let me give you the sizes and then I might change that. So these are 3 3/8 by 3 3/8, and then to mat the little corners, that's 1 3/8 by 1 3/8, and that's 1 1/8 by 1 1/8 I'm just going to quickly cut some very vanilla. There we are. So I've just done the 3 3/8 by 3 3/8 in the very vanilla, which I think will actually look better than the white. So we'll save that for something else. And then we do need a little scrap of light of navy for our stamping, and we are using the Perfectly Plaid stamp set, and I'm using that stamp there, and I will be heat embossing with copper embossing powder, which has now retired. But if you have this paper and you bought it last year, I imagine you've got copper embossing folder. For the sentiment, I'm using the Merry Christmas from the Word Wishes. So I'm using those dies, which I will be cutting out of the copper foiling, and I'll be cutting them out of the these mats just to save on a bit of foil paper. You're not going to see it, so you may as well. So I've got this one mounted, so I'm going to do that stamping before I do any cutting. So we're going to stamp it in Versamark, and I did this quite a bit last year of stamping this particular tree and heat embossing. It's just lovely, absolutely stunning. There we go. I did, when I sort of thought I want to make it with this, I then remembered that the copper powder had retired. I double and treble checked that the copper foil paper was still in, and it is. But I just thought, oh, I'm going to do it. Going to do it because if you're watching this, the likelihood is that you will have bought it and have it. So it's not like it's disappeared off the face of the earth. We just don't stock it or sell it anymore. So there we go. And I have used loads of it because there's hardly any of it left. It was my favourite embossing powder. Right, so I'm just going to put my heat tool on so it'll be a little bit noisy. It's a bit necky, isn't it? There we go. Gorgeous. Do love it. And then we've got the matching punch that we just put that in and punch it out. And that's our decoration for the front of the card. I did think might do that in the future, is using the stitch stars. I used that recently in a card. So that's that ready to go. So now let's do some chopping of our bits so that we can do our die cutting. So these stay intact. These get chopped. So we're just going to slice them diagonally in half. So we're using our trimmer, and we've got the cutting bit that goes down there, and we're going to stick a point at the top and a point at the bottom. Now you don't want to put your blade and have it so that it's going right into the point, because it tends to knock it a bit. So start a little way up and then go down and up, and then you don't get a little bit of a squashy bit of the end. So we do that for each one of these, lining it up so the points are in where the track is, running that up and down, and the same with the foil. Oh, I moved that slightly. There we go. Oh. There we go. This is getting a bit mucky. It's just, things are a bit mucky. I've had a really, really busy weekend. Not crafting wise, just been out and about. And it's been lovely actually. A bit like a mini holiday. So doing the same with these little ones. Yeah, so I had these all set up ready to film. Ran out of time before we started on our few little mad days out. And then I thought I'd have today as filming. And then I'm realising, oh, the grid match sheet's a bit mucky. This is a bit mucky. Oh well. And then these need scoring, not trimming, but scoring. So exactly the same thing. Put them so the points are in the top and the bottom of the runner, and then score it. And I'm just going to fold it back and forth. Don't get it mixed up with the trimmer. We don't need triangles of blue. We need squares of blue. There we go. I think there's so many sets that will lend themselves to this Teepee card at the moment. Right, let me just give this a burnish. I'm going to go around the edges just in case I forget when I'm sticking it together which is the one side and which is the other. That's why I kind of score it in both directions, and then I don't have to worry so much. So there we go. So they're all ready to be stuck together. So it's all in the prep. So out of this, I'm going to cut a Christmas and a happy, and I'll probably cut another happy and Christmas. So I've got a spare one for another project. So I'm going to get those die cut, and then we'll get to sticking it all together. There we are, that's them all cut up. I've just put the light on. I realised I hadn't had it on before. Realised you only need 3 of these, so decided not to cut out 2 happy birthday, so I cut out an 1.5-inch circle. Sure, that will come in handy. So let's move my dies. So that's my little happy Christmases done. So let's get these stuck down. So what we do is we put one of the pieces that's got the up and down line like that, and I'm going to use my grid mat to help me, and then we stick this one on so that it's butted up against that score line, and that it runs down the same shape as that square, that side of the square, if you get what I mean. Okay, so we're going to stick those down. Now I'm going to have that one in place so that I can see the line where this has to come out, so that I can stick along there, and I know that that's where that's gonna go. And now I can see on this side where it's going to go, because that one's stuck down. So there we have it. And it will fit in a envelope, no problem. And you can see how it's going to fold over. So that's the side we've just stuck down to, and this bit is the outside of the card. Okay, the seam is on the inside. So with that on the outside, I shall show you where we're going to stick our mats. So I'll open this one up so you can see that you're basically sticking all on this bit, but not that. That's the one that's going to get covered over when you do it up. Okay, so we need to put all our mats together. We're going to have a plain one on the inside, so that doesn't need matting, but these ones do need matting onto the copper, like so. And then we're going to have that one there like that, that one there like that, that one like that, and then we're going to stick these. These are purely optional, but I think it finishes it off nicely. And you can, if you want, you end up with that bit at the bottom of here without one. If you want to stick one on there, you can. I just haven't. Okay, so that's where they're all going to get stuck. So just with a bit of Tombow, I'm going to stick all these down together. Now this is going on foil, so it might take a little bit of extra holding time to make it stick, because it's not porous. Does mean you get a little bit of extra wiggle, and then you stick it in place there. I just love the way the copper foiling looks in the DSP, looks against that copper. Very, very luxurious. Okay, so I'm going to carry on and do that, and I think I might speed up my camera. There we are. You would have noticed that I accidentally glued it to my grid mat. That's because I forgot about the fact that there was a hole in the mat when I put glue all over it, but hey ho. So then we're going to turn it over, and if we now it really doesn't matter which one of these sides you put it on. And I actually saw a card, I think it was on Pinterest, where somebody had actually decorated the entire inside. You could do that if you wanted to. If you wanted to, you know, if it was an extra special card, so you wanted the inside to look really special, then you could decorate on the inside as well. You can mat the inside as well. I don't think it's necessary. That is enough room to say lots of love from Jez and Ed and Liam and James. It's usually what I put. There we go. I keep getting, I've got bits of glue on my hands, so I keep getting a bit on there. So now we need to do the Velcro. So we need a bit of Velcro in that corner there. So where's my Velcro? Here it is. So I've got Velcro squares. So that enables me to trim it down to the size I want. So that's what I'm going to do here. Rather than buy it in different sizes, I just bought big ones, and I don't mind trimming them. So peel that off, stick it in the corner, peel the top off, put it around where we want it to go, give it a pinch, and then that should open quite nicely. So now we've got the fun bit of decorating the front. So when decorating the front, to make sure you get it in the right sort of straight line, put the points of your triangle on a straight line. I'm using my grid mat here. You could use a ruler. Let's do that, because you might not have a grid mat. And put the points on a straight line. So that is how you want it to be. And you can see that's what I've done there with that one. So we want to put Christmas tree in the middle, and then I'm going to put Happy Christmas at the top. Now you may remember, if you watched my video when I did the sunflower card, that I had to have, if there was any overlap, it had to be on that side. But because this is made slightly smaller, you can actually afford a little bit of overlap on the other side as well, because when it's closed up like that to go in your envelope, you've actually still got enough space for it to go in the envelope. Let me demonstrate. With an envelope that it will still fit, even though it's over that way a bit. I would actually put something around that if I was posting it, to give it a little bit of protection. Otherwise it's just going to get bent completely back. So that's my little suggestion. So yeah, we've moved that. That's straight, so that's going to be up there, that's going to be there, that's going to be there. So I'm going to, I've decanted a bit of Tombow into this glue applicator for this sort of reason, so that I can dot it around my little die cuts. I've got the fine tip glue pen, but I managed to make a mess with that, whereas I find this much easier to control. So that is going across there. just do the happy, and because it was silver the other one, I've used some basic rhinestones. Now we don't have copper rhinestones, but we do have champagne, and I think that will work. Oh, you don't need it on these ends. Forgot that. Just need it on the centre bits. That will be fine. So I'm going to get some dimensionals for my tree. I've got very, very sticky hands now. There we go. So I am going to finish this off with some champagne dimensionals because I think they will work. And so I always like to put, not dimensionals, gems. So I always like to put a gem for the eye on the Christmas. Save the fiddling of trying to get the eye out of the die cut. Right. So I'm going to use a little one over the eye, and then go for slightly bigger ones in each corner. So I'll put one in the bottom corner there. And you see these work really, really well. And then one at the top. And then fold that round. And that is a brightly gleaming Christmas card. So hope you like that. So that's it in silver and white, and there we have it in copper and cream. And I just think they will look lovely at Christmas, especially using it as a Christmas tree, because you've got a similar sort of shape in your card. So hope you like that. And so I say that is where you might put your other little diamond if you wanted to finish it off in that way. So please go and click down below at the blog post where you'll find all the measurements and all the supplies, and you'll be able to shop in my shop if you wish to buy any of these things. And if you missed out on this paper last year, then make sure you don't this year. And I will link to the original blog hop as well, so you can go and see what everybody else has done in the blog hop. So thanks for joining me, and I shall see you again soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you want a copy of the catalogue, then let me know and I'll be happy to send you one free of charge, and you can start shopping with Stampin' Up and me. That'd be great. Okay, bye for now.